Major League Baseball's expansion race is heating up. Most recently, a coalition out of Salt Lake City, fronted by former Utah Jazz owner Gail Miller, threw their hat into the ring and announced their intention to pursue an MLB expansion franchise, becoming the latest in a long line of major North American cities vying for a big league ball club. But before you start thinking about whose name to put on the back of your Utah jersey, let's take a look at where MLB stands on the issue of expansion and what needs to happen for the league to grow. Sit back, relax, and take this in. Relatively speaking, Major League Baseball has been quiet on the expansion front for a while now. Since the turn of the century, after all, both the NFL and NHL have expanded to 32 teams, while the NBA added its newest franchise less than 20 years ago. However, Major League Baseball hasn't expanded since 1998, when the addition of the Arizona Diamondbacks in the National League and the Tampa Bay Devil Rays in the American League brought the number of franchises to 30. Over the ensuing quarter century, however, as baseball's annual revenues and franchise valuations skyrocketed, the external push for expansion intensified, significantly so over the last few years. In just about every corner of the United States and even internationally, consortiums making formal efforts to secure MLB franchises have sprung up. Portland wants in on the action. Nashville wants a ball club. So does Montreal. And now they're also pulling for an MLB franchise in Salt Lake City, which has been home to AAA baseball since 1994 and boasts a larger media market than multiple cities with MLB franchises, like San Diego and Milwaukee. Ultimately, Major League Baseball has no shortage of viable cities for expansion, and ostensibly, there's no good reason not to pull the trigger and expand to 32 teams, which is something MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred has said he wants to do. At 32, baseball gets an even number of clubs in each league, which could set the stage for a radical division realignment. The game's current owners split the proceeds from two exorbitant franchise fees that'll likely be in the ballpark of $2 billion apiece, and 52 additional big league roster spots are created. Forgetting the financial stuff for a second, just imagine a 4-division league with 8 teams per division, each reoriented based on some combination of geography, history, and rivalry. Imagine an American League East featuring both New York teams, Boston, Toronto and Montreal, Detroit, Baltimore, and Washington. At the same time, you could have a National League West featuring both LA teams, San Diego, San Fran, Seattle and Portland, Arizona and Colorado. This should have happened yesterday, right? Well, not so fast. For one, before he can start thinking about adding any new teams, Manfred said he first needs to know what's going to happen to his two most precarious existing franchises, the Oakland Athletics and Tampa Bay Rays, two teams that consistently finish at the bottom of the league in attendance and currently find themselves in serious stadium quagmires. The Athletics' lease at the unsuitable Ring Central Coliseum expires at the end of the 2024 campaign, and the lack of progress in their efforts to finalize a new stadium deal in Oakland has led the team to explore the possibility of relocating to Las Vegas. In fact, Manfred recently indicated that he thinks the club's future is indeed in Vegas. Meanwhile, the Rays' lease at the abominable Tropicana Field will expire after 2027, and unless they can finalize a new stadium deal, they could be on the move as well. And it should be noted, the league wasn't interested in their, shall we say, creative plan to split their home games between Tampa Bay and Montreal. The bottom line, though, is that until MLB knows for certain where those two franchises will be based 5 years from now, they're not going to start handing out new franchises. But there's another potential roadblock at play, too. As much as baseball's revenues seem to be climbing inexorably, the game is currently facing a potential financial downturn. The ongoing collapse of regional sports networks, which accounted for a significant percentage of each team's revenues, could well derail MLB's gravy train. And in a less rosy financial climate, the game's current owners may not be thrilled about having two new teams come in and compete for eyeballs in markets where they traditionally make hay, or for that matter, taking a slice of revenue sharing distributions. Remember, in order for expansion teams to be approved, 75% of the league's owners need to say yes. That said, it's entirely possible that by the time the A's and Rays have sorted their futures out, the league has come up with a new, more profitable distribution model that mitigates some of those concerns and makes the prospect of expansion even more attractive to the game's current owners. Because there are plenty of incentives for expansion. Not only does each owner get a cut of the massive expansion fees, but a bigger league is a great excuse to expand the postseason. And no matter what kind of distribution model you have, the playoffs are where the real money gets made. Ultimately though, while expansion may not be imminent, it definitely feels like a matter of when rather than if. And whenever Manfred and baseball's owners are ready to pull that trigger, they'll have more than a few cities chomping at the bit.